today.
When I was 13, I met the man that my mother had an affair with, and he said that I was his daughter. It brought up so many questions of deceit, of lies, that I didn't know who to believe. It is important for me to know the truth from my mother, for me to move on with my life and know who I am.
To this day, I'm gonna look at you in my face and I'm gonna say, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. Because I see both of them in my daughter. If you're gonna look at schematics and color, well, I have a lot of light skin, lighter than me, and different people in my family. But if you ask me, when I talk to them, I don't know. And I've kept it that way. That's the way I've been. And when it came out, it's exactly what I told Arielle. I'm not sure.
Is this important to you, and why is it important?
It's not important.
Your face says differently.
Why are you crying? Why are you crying?
I don't want to hurt anyone. So what is it going to do now? He's obviously upset.
That's an understatement.
Exactly.
Well, you say he's upset, and I don't know Ivy very well, but I'm a pretty good judge of horseflesh. And my read of him is that any upset that he has is you feeling that he would regard you any differently.
I don't feel that way.
Regardless of who your biological father is, because I think he's thinking, look, I've loved you from the minute I saw you, and if you think I changed and
I changed.
and changed the way that I felt about you, then that's just wrong. Is that true?
Yes.
At the end of the analysis, who's your father?
Ivy.
What do you need to say to Ivy, if anything, about this?
He knows that I love him. We just lost a connection. He's there, but we don't talk like we used to. It's not like how it could be. And he knows that, and I know that. We know the truth when it comes to our relationship right now. And it's not at all where it needs to be.
Let's get the
You've
picture
called me
straight.
stupid.
Let's
You've
get the
called
picture
me
straight.
ignorant. You've called me these things not even 2
Up
months ago.
until 2 weeks ago, she didn't know the whole story. Because I always wanted to know, why are we fighting? That's when I found out. She thought somebody else was her father, and I didn't love her.
That's not how I said it.
And I explained to her, looked at her in the face, and I said, I've loved you from day one. I've never not loved you. Since that day happened, we have not argued at all.
Because we don't talk.
That situation is over.
Well, she says it's because you just don't talk.
We have no relationship. We do not talk unless it's about my children. That is the truth.
I'm getting to that point
But
where
I wanna
I'm
say-
going to leave
but I
because
wanna
I'm
say
not going
this.
to sit here. I'm not going to sit here
And hear the truth.
hear this nonsense.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
I'm
because
not
this
as
is, and this
I'm not
is
for
where
the
it
circus.
goes.
What is nonsense?
Prior to us having that discussion, we had those moments. Since that issue was resolved, those issues haven't been. I've spoken to you. I get up in the morning.
You've spoken to me. You've
We talk.
spoken to me.
This is the
Listen
kind
to
of-
what you're
This is
saying.
the kind of thing where, like I said, when we start having conversation,
Yes.
it gets to be this, and this. I'm
I get
sitting
called
here and I'm
stupid,
saying,
ignorant.
and
I
I'm
can't
gonna
talk
say that.
Prior to
him.
that.
But that's what I'm trying to say. That's
Okay,
not
hold up.
normal.
Hold up. Tony, Ivy is done. I am done. Don't ask me to come back out here.
and this is what happens. And I wanna say,
I'm not putting up with y'all.
he's the way he is sometimes. He's watched these things. They both have this, they can't do this. This was the longest. This was long. And I'm serious, Dr. Phil, this was long.
I have always been a quiet, loving parent until that time when Arielle took a butter knife, opened my bedroom door to steal. That's when I got mad. I took off my belt and I whipped her grown 29-year-old butt.
I remember having blood. Like, I remember he beat the crap out of me.
That was my lowest moment. I couldn't believe it got to that point.
There's a flavor to this, this sociogram here of a family. And the flavor is oppositional.
That's it.
And because no matter what I say, somebody argues with it. You argue with what I say. I think if I said it was light outside, you would argue with me.
No, I wouldn't.
If I said
No,
it
I
was
would
dark
not.
outside, you'd go, well,
No.
yeah. And when you say something, if either one of you says something, you do exactly the same thing with each other. It's not me. You are oppositional. And that tells me that you're going through life as a family with a chip on your shoulder. You're ready to fight about whatever. You pick at words, you play semantics, you want to argue details, but you don't want to problem solve because you got a chip on your shoulder. It's kind of like if you bump each other in the hallway just accidentally, it's like, push me, bitch. I mean, it's like, what? It doesn't take anything to set you off.
It doesn't. It doesn't take anything.
You agreed with something
Yeah.
I said.
Yeah, no, I do. And that's why I told you. I really do believe that, Dr. Phil. For real. It's like, it is so true. We can take a restaurant menu. If there's no one there to, sort it out, you can take something and there will be someone that'll find a reason why we can't get chicken or why we can't get these kind of French fries. There will be that. And that is the hardest thing to do, to try to always be a ringmaster to the people that you love.
Yeah. What can you do? Forget everybody else. What can you do to change the dynamic of this family?
The boundaries. Again, setting boundaries, which is what I've been trying to do. That is so hard to do.
But you're adopting everyone up here on this family tree. You have all these people that are adopted up here, but you don't have a relationship with anybody.
They may not speak to her, but they reach out to me, and I try to reach back.
But listen to what I'm saying. You have these nieces that you have adopted.
Yes.
Okay, but now there are 29, 30, 32, your biological daughter,
Yes.
37. Have you asked yourself, what is the common denominator in those broken relationships?
Absolutely. I have
And what
talked
is
to
it?
them about the conversation.
What is the common
It is,
denominator?
a lot of them say Arielle.
Do you have a broken relationship with them?
Fractured, yes. But it's not like, again, you're trying to say we don't talk. We do talk. It's just not.
No, Donna, I'm not trying to say you don't talk. I'm trying to get you to recognize that there is a common denominator, which is you, to all of these relationships that are strained.
Right. And when you talk to them, they all say the same thing. It's what you did for Arielle. Why Arielle, Arielle, Arielle? It's never, they
So
all have different things.
when-
But you're looking at one, I'm going to finish. You're looking at one person. You're looking at one person. I have sat here and I've listened and I've taken my medicine and I'm willing to change. I have made significant changes, but I cannot change how they feel. They're older, they have their own children, their own families. I reach out. If they don't reach out back, what can I do?
You said, what can I do?
Yes.
And I want to hearken back to your first thing you said, boundaries. And I assume that's what's motivating your boundaries.
Yes.
You're saying, I do need to create boundaries. It's very hard.
Yes.
But what you're saying is, I recognize that I need to create some boundaries in my relationship here, for example, and I'm sure other places.
Mhm.
So these people do perceive a different availability, a different emotional availability.
I look at heroin as a person. I loved you more than myself. I loved you more than my children. I love it. And if I'm around it, I'm gonna do it. No matter where I am, that is something that I had to accept and realize, because if I start lying to myself, then I'm gonna go back to it.
What do you want in your relationship with Arielle, if anything?
Yeah, the relationship I want with Arielle is one of understanding, where we can talk to each other and that we can relate to each other, and it's not tense.
Well, you know, I observed before you came out here and that there's an oppositional air in this family, that there is a tension and people do get offended awfully easy. It's like everybody's got a chip on their shoulder, and it's awfully easy for somebody to get offended and get tense and things to not go in a happy way.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yes, I definitely do.
So it's easy to get into an argument.
Yes, definitely.
What would it mean to you if that changed? What would it mean to you if it was just relaxed and everybody could just kind of be happy?
It would mean a lot, because we would all be happier with each other, and we wouldn't all be fighting. We could talk about what we want and need to talk about.
If there was something that your mother could do.
I don't really know, really. To be honest with you, I don't really know.
Do you like spending time with her?
Yes, definitely.
If you were going to change something in the dynamic, it would just be more time,
Yes.
is what you're saying. You just like to spend more time with her.
Yeah, more time, and we've worked on being more open with each other.
Yeah. Do you know how rare that is to hear a 19-year-old say, I want to spend more time with my parent?
Yes, I love
I want to
spending
be
time
more
with her.
open with
Yes.
my parent, because most of the time
Yes.
it's exactly the opposite. How about you?
Definitely.
Would you enjoy spending time with your mother?
I spend time with her. I spend time with her a lot. I talk about things I'm going through and talk about my new dog I got, or clothes, or my brother I have, or issues I have with school. Definitely with school, because I'm trying to work with that, trying to finish school. My reading, she helped me out with that now. We go daily read back and forth, like every morning and night. I like that a lot. Or we go outside, we just talk. I make a fire for her, warm her up and stuff like that.
Yeah. Would y'all like that kind of relationship with your sister?
Definitely, yes.
Because I don't warrant the way she's gotten educated about life, but she knows a lot about life.
Yeah. Yes.
And she can tell you a lot about lessons learned and how to differentiate between somebody that really is your friend who's somebody that's not.
Yes.
Red flags in relationships that you want to stay. I mean, this is somebody with a very rich and deep background that can share a lot of things with you. You know, you said you described yourself as socially awkward. I think you're very well spoken and
Thank you.
handle yourself extremely well. But you have a lot of wisdom to impart to them, don't you think?
I tell her that all the time. I want her to follow my footsteps, both of them in certain areas. And I try to be better for them. I didn't know they felt the way they did. When we first started this process, I heard things that I didn't hear before, that I had no idea. You know, so with everything else, this is important to me.
If there was one thing you could change in your relationship with your sister, what would it be?
Our communication.
I love my wife, but we're just married, going through the motions as husband and wife.
Imagine going a week living with someone but not really interacting with them. It's like you're invisible. We used to pass by each other in the hallway, and it was like we weren't there.
I don't even look at my wife in her face anymore. She'll come up to me and hug me, and I glance and I look away. I look over, above her, around her.
I feel Ivy doesn't feel close to me right now because there's such a gap. You're looking at 10 years dealing with someone with addiction. We didn't have time. He was working, he'd come home, he'd be tired. We were being parents all over again for a baby. You don't have time for sex because, you know, who's gonna get up? Whose turn is it to get up?
Emotionally, Donna and I are still good friends, but I just don't feel a physical connection to be intimate. She's put on all this weight, and she is not attractive to me at all. I don't like the way my wife looks. It has nothing to do with anything. I don't like the way she looked.
I've heard that before.
Well, I'm sorry.
I
Yeah,
know.
exactly. I think they need to split up and figure things out.
But I'm still willing, again, to work.
You don't deserve
Thank you.
to have that
No.
said, and I'm sorry that he is more sensitive about things than that, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know this: you have to make choices in your life, and you have to have priorities in your life.
Absolutely, yes.
And right now, your top priority is sitting right across from you.
And it is.
These two young people right here should be your top priority. That's my advice. They need you, and frankly, you need them.
I do.
And I'm not saying that Arielle's not important, because she is, but she's an adult and she's a mother, and she's going to have to come to grips with some things. And I'm going to talk to her in a minute. But I'm saying to you that, number one, you need to take care of yourself, and you need to be there for these two young people, because their life is stretched out ahead of them, and they need your love and nurturance and guidance. And I hope that you will focus on yourself and on them. And it's not selfish to take care of yourself.
I've
It's
been
not
told that it
selfish.
is, Dr. Phil.
It is not. It is absolutely not. And you know, I'm going to ask Robin to comment here, because I know she just listened to what Ivy had to say, and I know she feels very strongly as a women's advocate about taking care of yourself. But I mean, you listen to the tape. What do you have to say?
Well, I'm sorry that he did that. I think it's really horrible that he said that to the camera, knowing that you would hear it, your family would hear it, and all the viewers out there would hear that when he was talking about you, because love and a relationship and a marriage is not at all about looks. And I have noticed throughout this entire series that he does think only of himself and what he contributes and who he is. So that's really how I see him. And when it's not all about him, he storms off. So in so many ways, you did not deserve that. You deserved so much more than that. And I'm sorry. And I do think that now that's a very good reason and a very good example of why it's time for it to be about you. You've been through so much, but gladly and lovingly been there for your family, and you, of course, are willing to continue to do that, but it's time for you to be there for you and take care of yourself and honor yourself and just congratulate yourself for who you are and what you stand for, your role as a woman and a wife and a mother. And I applaud you, and I hope that you will start today and start taking care of yourself and continue to have that glow of who you are as a woman.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I want you to hear what Robin says. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. Robin takes care of herself, and she's done it all throughout our marriage, and I'm so blessed that she has, because you can't give away what you don't have. Arielle, you're a mother, and you're seeing the dynamic here between your mother and this family. You've got to decide what kind of mother you want to be, what kind of life you want to set out for your children going ahead. And it is a great North Star that helps you, have something to shoot for, live for, aspire to. You can bless them so much with who you are capable of being. And I said before, I personally think, and this isn't a diagnosis, but I strongly suspect that you're suffering from PTSD. And that is both a neurological and psychological phenomenon. And it is unfair for people to expect you to just be better. It's just time to be better. You've got to have help with that. And so I want to help you with that. And I'm prepared to arrange that for you.
Yes,
professionally, to get some professional ongoing help for you.
Okay.
And I have one question, and you can answer it now if you know the answer, or you can reflect on it and then answer it. How much help do you need getting the drugs under control?
I don't get the question. Do you think going somewhere? Are you
I mean, I
implying
don't know. That's what I'm saying. What do you need? Where you don't need detox,
No,
clearly. I know
detox
that.
myself, yeah.
I can see that by spending these days with you. You don't need detox. I'm just saying, what do you need? Do you need?
I need to work on my coping skills.
Yeah, that I know, and that
Yeah.
I've said we're going to help you with that. But and you think about this. If you're afraid that you're vulnerable to relapse, if you need more treatment for this, if you need that, then you tell me, okay? Because I'll step up. If you need to go to a dual diagnosis treatment program, if you need top level care and treatment, then I will step up and provide that for you. I will make that available. But that's something that I would want to do with you, not to you. You reflect on that
Okay.
and decide. But aside from that, we have to deal with this other thing. We have to deal with it. It is not fair to ask you to be okay if we're not going to give you the tools to be okay. And that's just stupid. To just me say, so you just need to do better. Well, okay. Like I said, if we're going to take those things away, we need to put some things in place. And that means diagnosis and treatment and help with those things. And I'm prepared
Yes.
to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
I want the two of you to understand that it's right and okay to expect to be treated with dignity and respect inside this family, outside this family, because we all have a personal truth. You know, we all kind of know who we are inside, and you've lived with a lot of turmoil and a lot of chaos, but you've got people that love you and are devoted to you and value you, and you need to feel valued. And I'm prepared to get you some professional counsel for this. So whether it's the family in general or the marriage in particular, that you have someone that you can talk to when you need to. And we're in a pandemic, so I'll set it up as teletherapy through Doctor on Demand, which is a company that we actually started years ago, where we'll set this up for you so you can have this when you need this. Okay? Because when you flourish, this whole family will flourish, independent of what Ivy does or doesn't do.
When I go back into the dressing room, I know Ivy. He will be very quiet. There'll be no arguing, anything like that, because for me, I'm past that. I'm about healing. So I will offer to talk if he'd like to talk. If not, we will continue to get ready and go back home. Want to talk? When Ivy walked off the stage, it kind of solidified what goes on when the conversation gets out of, hand. There's no communication skills with anyone. It was him today, it could be Arielle the next day, Michael the next day. That's kind of how it works. Let's just say that I'm not surprised. Here's one talk, so I'm gonna talk to myself. We have a long way to go. See what happens next.
What did you think, Donna, when you saw that piece about the marriage?
Emotionally, Donna and I are still good friends, but she's put on all this weight and she is not attractive to me at all. I don't like the way my wife looks. It has nothing to do with anything. I don't like the way she looks.
Like I told Dr. Phil, I've heard it before. That's not a big surprise. I guess that's what makes me kind of tough. I kind of look past physical because I've been with him long enough.
All right. So, Daddy ready? He's not gonna talk to me. When we fight, Dad walks away, as you saw, and we gradually go on and walking around without talking to each other. I've come to terms with it. I have to start focusing on me and my kids, and I can't keep holding on to things that he's going through. When I stood up there and I said it hurt me that he doesn't say good morning to me or that he doesn't show me affection that I would hope Yes, that hurts, but I have my own life. I have my own 2 kids now, and I have to move on. And I love him. I always love him. Our life isn't hunky-dory, you know? There are many families that are struggling with this right now.
I'm gonna say this, today was earth-changing, life-changing for so many of us. Dr. Phil said one thing that I'm gonna take to heart. I gotta take care of myself. And that means everything. That means from Arielle to Ivy. I'm gonna finish what I started. I'm going to work on me. And working on me is what's going to help Ellen and Michael. Hey, this is America, this is life, these are families, these are people, we are real people. This wasn't staged, this wasn't set up. You put people on a stage and ask questions.
Tell me why you were mad when you walked off stage.
Because I've never heard my wife say Arielle could be another man's daughter. I've never heard her say that. That hit a nerve. That's why I walked off.
So make sure you go in the room and you tell Arielle it wasn't because of her.
Oh, that was part of it. You solidified it when you said you didn't know if he was.
I said I don't know.
That's when I had enough.
There's your scoop, you got it right here. That's when he's had enough. I've just never been asked that question before, like that, you know? And so what am I gonna say? I'm gonna sit there and say, heck, I don't know. Why ask? You've always been the father. I told the truth about everything. And I'm sitting here and I'm still telling the truth. I put myself out on the line for too many people for so long, and I'm not gonna be held back any longer. I'm not gonna be standing in between any more arguments. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna pick myself up and work on this fat, overweight person. That's what I'm gonna do. You got that? Make sure you get that.
A family in crisis.
No way you're going back out?
Hell no. I've never heard my wife say Arielle could be another man's daughter.
When the bones are good, the rest don't matter.
This family needs a tear down and rebuild.
All new Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.